Hello everyone. This week I'm staying with the family in Aberfeldy. Aberfeldy sounds like it's in Wales, but we're actually in Perthshire in Scotland. So got the week up here, half-term break, so looking forward to exploring this part of Scotland which I don't know, not been around here much before. So yeah, join me as we explore beautiful Perthshire. So we're walking in the woods near Aberfeldy and we've come to this site called St David's Well, and a hermit used to live up here, and St Cuthbert is also believed to have come to this location. And here's the well. So St David's Well is named after Sir David Menzies, who was a 16th century laird who gave up his life to live as a hermit in this location. And according to the sign on the wall, St Cuthbert before that used to live here when he was evangelising the Picts. Not particularly a sheltered location to live, but anyway, here we are, St David's Well, and just over there you just make out the town or village of Aberfeldy. I've come here to the Birks of Aberfeldy, which is a walk along the banks of a river, through forest and along waterfalls, and it gets its name from a poem that was composed by Robert Burns, who visited this location. And I'm going to attempt to read the poem. I'm not going to be able to do it justice, but this is the poem, The Birks of Aberfeldy by Robert Burns. Bonnie lassie, will ye go? Will ye go?
Bonnie lassie, will ye go? Will ye go? Will ye go? Bonnie lassie, will ye go to the Birks of Aberfeldy? The little babbies blithely sing, while other heats the hazels hang, or lightly flit on wanton wing. In the Birks of Aberfeldy, the braes ascend like lofty walls, the foamy stream deep roaring falls, o'erhung with fragrance spreading shores. The Birks of Aberfeldy. Bonnie lassie, will ye go? Will ye go? Will ye go? Bonnie lassie, will ye go to the Birks of Aberfeldy? The hoary cliffs are crowned with moors, white o'er the lins the Burnie pours, and rising weeds with misty shores. The Birks of Aberfeldy, let fortune's gifts at random flee, they ne'er shall draw a wish fae be. Supremely blessed with love and thee, in the Birks of Aberfeldy. Bonnie lassie, will ye go? Will ye go? Will ye go? Bonnie lassie, will ye go to the Birks of Aberfeldy?
We go, keep us up. Okay, here we go, keep us up.
So the Laird of Blair Castle is the only person who is allowed his own private army. So this is the only private army in Europe, and this was an honour bequeathed to him, I believe, by Queen Victoria. And the Blair Athol Pipe and Drum Band are considered one of the best pipe bands in the world, and they're performing today for the Blair Athol Highland Games.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, on behalf of my father, the Duke of Athol, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to you all today. I hope you have a fantastic day at the Athol Highland Games today in this beautiful weather, and I now declare the games open.
You get 3 bottles of whiskey. Okay, here we go. Round it off.
So we're going to have a little wander now around the gardens of Blair Castle. The Athol Highlanders that I mentioned earlier were originally formed by the lord of the time in order to go and fight in the American Civil War on the side of the British, and he managed to raise an army of 1,000 people, but by the time they marched down to Portsmouth to catch the boat over to America, the Civil War of Independence had actually finished, so they didn't go in the end. But as I said earlier, it is the only private army in Europe and now performs a ceremonial role only. Dull, twinned with the town of Boring in America. Always fancy coming here. So let's have a drive through the village of Dull. See the Dull village. I don't know if they've got a Dull church, maybe even a Dull pub. Who knows? Let's go and see. When a place is called Dull, you can't have too many expectations, but Dull does have a Highland Safari and Red Deer Centre. So not quite so dull after all. So here we are in the village of Dull. It's a small village, really just a hamlet, but they do have a sanctuary cross which I've not come across before. So apparently there were 4 sanctuary crosses around this village, and there used to be a monastery here. 3 are remaining, and any miscreants, anyone running from the law, could seek sanctuary within those crosses. So not come across that before, but they do have a Dull church as well. So let's go and look at the Dull church. So this church is built on the site of the old monastery, and Dull, by all accounts, was a very important place of learning. So behind me is Dull Church, and just reading the information board, it apparently used to be a really important seat of learning. There used to be a monastery here, and all the wealthy, influential families used to send their sons here to study. So the monastery at Dull was actually once very important, very significant for Scotland. So Dull is not such a dull place after all. In fact, it's a very interesting little place with a fascinating history. I'll go and see if the church is now open. Now, I thought that was a church, but it actually looks like it's someone's private house that's been converted into housing. So I'm not going to walk in there. Might get into a bit of trouble, but obviously it used to be the church. Anyway, so no Dull church at the moment, but there used to be. No Dull school, sadly no Dull pub either, but still worth stopping at if you're passing by. Bit of fun. So really interesting. This little place used to be the main seat of learning in Scotland until the University of St Andrews was opened in the early 15th century.
I'm an explorer. I'm Dora. No, I'm not. Yeah, yes, that's why I suggest we go down.
I'm just having a brief wander through Perth on my way to collect my son from the bus station, and just come across these flood markers on the bridge that crosses the River Tay. Another gorgeous day here in Scotland. This is Loch Tay. We're at the bottom of the loch in Canmore. The mountain in the distance is Ben Lawes, which is a Munro, over 3,000 feet tall. Still some snow on there. And today the plan is to go paddleboarding. And although it's forecast to be a warm day, I suspect the water temperature is going to be cold, because this loch is apparently one of the deepest lochs in Scotland, 14.5 miles long. So I imagine that even in the height of summer, the water temperature is still going to be quite cold. But it's a beautiful day to be out in the water, so still. So yeah, let's make the most of the day. So this is the town of Canmore. Lovely little church there. And behind me, I've got Adam and Henrik having to share a paddleboard today. So just wondering how long it is before they end up in the water. But what a glorious day. Beautiful spot. I would love to live here. Amazing. So there's a little marina here, and leisure centre holiday village. And they've got these floating houseboats. That'd be a fantastic place to spend a holiday. Henry. So it's another beautiful day here in Scotland, and today I'm climbing Schiehallion. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. One of the Munros not far from where we're staying. I've got Adam, Henrik and Daniel with me today. So yeah, lovely walk, starting through this lovely reforestation project. They've got a project here planting native trees to try and create a corridor of native woodland in this area. And I must admit, this whole part of Scotland, there's so much forest and reforestation taking place, which is really lovely to see. And it's really interesting to see what a difference just allowing natural regeneration is making, fencing off parts of the mountainside with deer fences so deer can't get in, and nature just being allowed to re-establish itself. Really is wonderful and beautiful, but couldn't ask for better weather. It's absolutely stunning. So summit's just behind me, Just making our way through this large boulder field to make our way there. It's very warm, hardly any wind, and the sun is radiating its heat off the rocks, so it's hot, very hot, but lovely.
Oh, I thought Jesse.
So this is Fortingall village and church. Beautiful little place. It's got thatched cottages, which I wasn't expecting to find here in Scotland. Really is a lovely spot. So this yew tree here is believed to be up to 5,000 years old, which makes it probably the oldest tree in the world. It's extraordinary to think that when Jesus was born, this tree would have been 3,000 years old already. We just drove past this little church where, in the grounds where it sits, and didn't realise it was here until we stopped to have a look. Extraordinary to think it's been here for so long. So just having a walk up Glen Lyon Valley, which is the longest glen in Scotland. Very beautiful remote glen as well. Lovely woods and a river running through it.
Flying bugs everywhere every time we see them. Przynieście wszystkie papcie, buty i tak dalej.
So we've driven up as far as we can go in Glen Lyon, and we've come to Glen Lyon Loch and this dam. So just going to go for a little stroll and see the view. So I would estimate that the dam is at least 30 or 40 feet below its normal level, which considering we're in June is quite worrying. You would expect the lock to be, or the dam to be, much higher than it actually is.